Hello, everyone. All right, well, we're going to try out the tech here, and I'm wondering if it's working. And it is. All right. Well, so welcome to A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. So, as you have seen today, I've gone live here for the last 3 days on my telephone, which is actually quite all right. As I set it up, it's quite a good camera angle of me. And thank you for everyone that has tuned in to that. It's really a beautiful thing that we have so many different technological options these days. So when plan A doesn't work, we have a plan B and we have a plan C. And it looks like Florisa, hello, how are you? Thank you for tuning in here. Yeah, this is all a lot of fun here, guys. This show is on live every day here on Enlightened World Network, and it is at different times every day. So I'm coming to you from a different time slot than I usually am. So I'm curious to see who is able to join me and who catches the replay here. But thank you all so much for tuning in. And it's very interesting to me when we have technological issues. We have a choice, right? We have a choice of getting really, really flustered and thrown off, or of just rolling with it, right? Rolling with it, showing up, and making sure that we just continue to spread the message of love, which is what we're all about. So I'm happy to do that. And Erica, hi, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. So guys, what we're doing today here is we're on lesson 83 in the workbook of A Course in Miracles. It's a review lesson of lessons 65 and 66. And let's just jump right into it today, because I've got a lot of energy around the word trust today. The word trust and also the word courage today. Courage to step up and do what you know you need and want to do, despite the little voice of the ego that keeps telling you how bad you are, how this is not going to work. Who are you to be doing this? Who are you to be teaching people these things? Yeah, you can't handle this. Da 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 da. All of that negative self-talk that we all have. It's courage to step up and do what we know we want to do, need to do, and are supposed to do in spite of that. And we discover, as the analogy from A Course in Miracles shows us, that it's like a wall of clouds. It's like a fog bank that looks deep and dark and imposing. And when you walk up to it, it still looks dark. It's cold, it's wet. But when you begin to walk through it, you realize, okay, I'm just walking through a passing cloud. It's ephemeral. It's, in fact, nothing. And you pass right through it, and then you're out on the other side. And it's trusting that that other side is waiting for you. And not only that, that it's who you really are. The light on the other end of the fog bank is you. And you're, in essence, calling to yourself, hey, walk through this fog bank. You might get a little cold. You might be a little wet. In other words, you might be a little uncomfortable along the way, won't you? But you will nevertheless make it through. So very, very interesting, the ways that we human beings get in our way. And this plays right into the review lessons. Lesson 65 today is my only function is the one that God gave me. So we'll review two ideas today. The first is lesson 65 from the workbook. My only function is the one God gave me. Just that. Now, we've seen in the workbook that forgiveness is our function as the light of the world. That is what we are here to do. In other words, we're here to extend love. We're here to answer calls for love, and there are many of those, with love. And if you are new to the philosophy of A Course in Miracles, forgiveness is central to A Course in Miracles. And as I just mentioned, it's our function as the light of the world. What that means is we answer calls for love with love itself. So according to this philosophy, Something that someone does or says is either an extension of love or it's a call for love. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. So anything that is nasty or egregious or mean, when someone acts out of fear or out of frustration, they're calling out for love. I mean, the word that we often use is the phrase anyway, is calling out for help, right? It's a cry for help. Well, actually, yeah, it's a call for love. So what's the appropriate response to a call for love? Well, quite naturally, it's to extend love. Just that, just that. And isn't it beautiful when we're able to do that, when we're able to put aside our preconceived notions about somebody, when we're able to recognize, hey, they're hurting too. I've done similar things in that circumstance. When we're able to extend the blessing and the gift of forgiveness, not from a standpoint of being superior to the person that we're forgiving, not that at all, but from the standpoint of recognizing our own oneness. Recognizing our own oneness. That's our function in the world, is to recognize our own oneness and to extend love. And the beauty of A Course in Miracles is it gives us practices to do. It gives us things to work on, because that practicality is really key. Because it's one thing to believe that something's possible, and it's quite another, isn't it, to experience it. One of the beauties of A Course in Miracles is that it doesn't require us to believe specific things. We simply do the practice exercises and we go about it on our own, and we have these experiences for ourselves. So hello, everybody that's joining. Jana, hello, how are you? Thanks for tuning in here. So our only function is the one that God gave us. It's not to make sure we have a clean email inbox, okay? It's not even to keep our beautiful career and make a bunch of money. It's nothing in the world. Not that that's not important in the world, it is, but it's not our real, true function. It's, a job or a career can give us some happiness. Yes, it can, but it's not constant, lasting happiness. It's not the peace of God. So, therefore, our only function in truth is the one that God gave us, and that is forgiveness. And we can't be in conflict, can we, when we realize that that is the case, because it's just it's very beautiful when we're out of our own way and we're able to simply let love flow through us, which is exactly what we're supposed to do. To let love flow through us. So that's lesson 65. Now we lead right into lesson 66 on that. My happiness and my function are one. So what happens when you're out of your own way and you're allowing divine synchronicity and flow? Well, it makes you happy, doesn't it? It makes you happy. That's what it does for me in my own experience. Is it makes me happy, and I feel relaxed and relieved when I'm out of my own way. And what do I mean by getting out of our own way? Well, with all of our preconceived notions and our identification with the ego, with a separate sense of self, we tend to think that we have to do things a certain way, that we have to hold certain relationships to ourselves and to other people. And that's generally adversarial. That's the way that typically looks, is that we tend to view ourselves as in competition with people. Our economic systems in the world have everything to do with that. And that is just, that seems to be the world we're living in, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be the way that we show up. We can show up with a loving attitude. And hello, Alicia, how are you? I'm just tuning in here. I've got the live stream up. Thank you guys for tuning in here. So our happiness and our function are one. when we step out of our own way, what we're doing is we're allowing, aren't we? We're practicing allowing. We're practicing allowing our guides, God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, whoever your guide or guides are, to run the show. It's an admission that of ourselves, we don't know what we're doing, right? We're in fact confused. Now, the ego, of course, hates that. Ego wants to say, yeah, no, we're not confused. I mean, we got it all made. I'm an expert. I got this. Step aside, right? But when we step aside and let the ego run things, it doesn't know what it's doing. So we have this constant run of highs and lows. We're up 1 minute, down the next. We feel great 1 minute, then we're depressed and we feel terrible. We feel like we're lacking, we're less than. And by accepting our real function, which is extending love, it brings happiness. Why? We're doing what we're created to do. We're doing what we're meant to do. So as we're listening along here, I'm very curious. Let me know if you all are tuning in here live, where you're tuning in from, because again, I am on at different times every day, and I'm on at a very different time frame for me here today. I'm curious to know where everyone's tuning in from. Yeah, drop that in the comments if you're there. We've got a bunch of folks on watching, so I appreciate you being here. And if you're catching the replay, please let me know if you have any questions related to either this lesson or anything with A Course in Miracles in general. And if you're just tuning in, this is a daily live stream that we've been running here on the network since about January. And it's my pleasure to come on and share my experience with all of you. It's a number of years of practicing this, and I've learned a lot of things from it. So just recapping today, it's lesson 83 of the workbook. My only function is the one God gave me. Nothing else, nothing that I'm inventing in the world is really my function. I mean, are we really here to make dinner every day and sleep and maybe make some money and then that's it? No, we're here to do more than that. We're much greater than that deep down, and we limit ourselves in the world. Our only function is the one God gave us. That is the extension of love. So that takes the form here in the world of forgiveness, according to the way the Course in Miracles talks about it and talks about it and has us practice it. And my happiness and my function are one. Yeah. When we're doing what we're here to do, in other words, when we're living our lives with a purpose, on purpose, then we are happy by definition. I mean, imagine what your life would be like if you were constantly and always doing what you knew you were here to do. You were fulfilling your function. You were living your life's purpose. Number one, you knew what that was. Number two, you were happily doing it every moment of every day. That's when things become joyous. That's when it becomes effortless. That's when work does not feel like work. In other words, it's not drudgery. It's not something that you're doing just because, or it's not something that you're doing just to collect a paycheck, for example. It's the work of love. It's the extension of love. It's light, it's effortless, and it's something that we all deserve to feel because it's what we're all here to do. All right. So thank you all for tuning in here today. We are going to continue through the workbook. We're in a period of review lessons, which I really love because we get to go back and look at ideas that we've covered here in the workbook and cast them in a little bit different light. These review ideas are great because they add to our understanding. And for those who may be just joining in, this is a live stream that I encourage you to catch. Check the show guide on Enlightened World Network every day for the exact show times. It is daily, and it's so much fun for me to drop in and share my experience with you. So I thank you all for tuning in, and I hope that everyone has a beautiful weekend, and I will see you right back here